awesome track. Blah, blah, blah.
Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 87. Tonight we find out how we did in this weekend's continuing raid of Antorus the Burning Throne. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Stafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Fire Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Knight Elf Arms Warrior.
And Epistle.
Hey, I'm Epistle, and I play a Draenei Protection Paladin.
And Charity.
Hey, I'm Charity. I play a Draenei Resto Shaman.
Well, how's everybody doing this week?
Not
Good.
bad.
Finally saw Infinity War.
Yay.
Excellent.
Yeah, took my son to go see it. I did have him watch because he hasn't seen a lot of the Marvel movies. He's only 9. He'll be 10 soon. So I found a video on YouTube, which was like a primer for everything you really need to know before seeing Infinity War, right? And so he watches that, and I was like, so, did you get all that? And he's like, my brain kind of hurts. That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's like
about it.
87 movies to watch before you can see that.
Right?
You're supposed to have a marathon and start at the beginning.
Yeah, that would have been
That's
like...
what our family did.
It would have been like I felt like that would have been like weeks and weeks
Yes.
Yeah,
of
That's
video.
what-
that's
how long
the
it took
fun
our family.
part.
Well, I didn't know when we were going to have a chance to go, and with my wife and daughters out of town, and it's just my son and I here. I got done painting my kitchen, and I was like, "Hey, let's go see the movie." And he was like,
Okay.
"Cool, let's go."
Well,
So,
now you can watch them.
Yeah. Now he can go back and watch the other ones.
Yeah, because there's definitely things in like Shield and the other shows that tie into it, So
There's so much,
but it's
content.
not to the point where you have to go watch all of them to enjoy
No.
Infinity Wars, because that was still a good show.
It really was. Although he did ask, like after the movie was over and we're sitting there and the credits are rolling, and he leans over and he's like, "Why are we still here?"
Pretty
Oh,
quiet.
everybody knows you're supposed to wait till the scenes at the end.
But
Right.
there's
It-
always the people that get up and leave.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
where are you
10 or
going?
15 people. It's like, do you know?
Yeah.
I feel
so
like the crazy person wanting to scream at them. Wait! You have to sit down! There's
I did.
one.
Yeah, I did lean over to him. I was like, "There's something else at the end. I don't know what it is, but there will be something else that we haven't
It will
seen
be
yet."
a big deal. Of course, that scene, without giving any spoilers, won't have made any sense to him.
No,
Right,
No,
right.
probably not. I had to explain a little bit about that later, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll say that much, and that's as much as I'll say about the movie. I did.
yeah, we don't
enjoy it a
want
lot.
to spoil it. We've all
No.
seen it now, but actually, my wife went and saw it Saturday, because I went last Saturday when my daughter's birthday party, and we had 4 teenage 13-year-olds running around the house. So my son and I left. I had to get away from that.
I
And
did
we
this
went
guy-
and seen it, so she was mad that we went without her. So she went Saturday without us.
Yeah, and I gotta say, because I've talked a little bit about our theaters here in town and how like not so great they are. We arrived a few minutes late to the very beginning of like the previews and stuff, right? So the previews were already underway when we walked in, and it was dark in there. We really couldn't see, and so we're walking along the main pathway in the center, because it's a sloped theater. It goes down a little bit, so they're staggered, and there was like 2 chairs like sitting in the main walkway. And I was like, let's just sit in those so we don't have to like walk in front of a bunch of people or trying to squeeze into an aisle or whatever. And we sat down in those, and those were extra comfy and really nice chairs. Later, I found out they were the handicap seats. Nobody was sitting in them, obviously, and those were really nice seats, actually.
Yeah.
Too funny. Too funny. So anybody else do anything? I mean, Mother's Day. Congratulations to all the mothers out there. Charity, new mother coming up.
Yeah, this is my last one not celebrating for
Well,
myself at least.
yeah. Well, you can celebrate for yourself.
I've
Just,
had mixed reviews on that. I went to Walmart and picked up my pickup order today, and they're like, "Happy Mother's Day!" Oh, like, oh, thanks. They gave me flowers. I was like, oh,
Aw,
okay.
That was
That's nice.
cool.
Yeah,
it's
they're
still cooking.
yeah. They didn't know. I could have been a mom, but I was just like, oh, well, that was nice. But I've had
Yeah.
mixed reviews. Some people are like, no, because you haven't done the work yet. And then some people are like, you're doing the work right now, so you're a mom. And I'm like, I don't
Hey,
feel like a mom yet.
you know what's
So,
neat? Guess who gets to decide, though? You do.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and regardless, to all the moms out there, I mean, I wished my mom a happy Mother's Day. She's actually hanging out with my wife and daughters down where we have a kid from our gym. We have a gymnastics academy, gymnastics club, and we have a kid who is in the Junior Olympic Nationals right now, and so they're away at those. And my mother was able to go down and visit with them because my mom lives like 1,000 miles away. So while I couldn't hug my mom today, my offspring and my wife were able to.
Very cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yes, we took Mommy Fortuna to one of her favorite places to go, which is Wasabi. It's a Benihana's type deal.
Oh, like
Ooh,
a Japanese
nice.
steakhouse.
Nice.
Yep, exactly.
I like those.
And we sat down with this other family, and they had two young kids that had never been there before. So the
it's
flaming
so fun.
fire and all that stuff they were like, oh my God, that's so cool. So it was like dinner and a show.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
is the one you went to? Is that one of those ones where the chef at the table has like mad knife skills?
Oh yes,
Okay, cool.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the spatula. I mean, he was flipping it and spinning it and around his finger, and it was just he was amazing.
Yeah, I love to see all the knife work and stuff because I mean I do a lot of cooking, but I'd give my knife work like a C. Those guys are like an A plus.
Yeah.
I do, however, have my first doctor's appointment to see the baby this week.
Ooh.
Oh.
Very cool.
Awesome.
You gonna
Yeah, so that's
post pictures of
exciting.
the alien on Facebook?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be posting it on my personal, but I will absolutely post it on the tavern
Yeah.
page too.
Definitely.
When
I'm
we
sure
were
Go ahead.
when we were expecting our second, and then we discovered an extra. I went in, and the ultrasound person said, "So, baby A," and there's this long pause, and I'm thinking, the only thought I have is, how big is this alphabet?
I was thinking like, is that a Canadian thing?
Yeah, it's a baby,
Baby
eh?
A. Oh, A.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it took
there's
me
a
a
baby.
moment.
oh my
eh?
gosh, Joe!
Wow, that progressed really slowly.
Yeah, well, it's Sunday night,
Yeah. That was I was going for the long groan, I think.
Uh-huh.
That was good though. That was good. All right, well let's.
So
jump
yeah,
right-
anyway, no twins. No twins.
Oh, no twins.
We're
You're
not.
totally positive?
Let's
No.
all cross our fingers.
Oh no, twins
I
first
don't
is
know.
awesome. Twins
My
are
first
great.
one? No. No.
All right.
That's the way you want to do it, but we could debate that another time.
Here comes the RNG.
Great.
Do
Yeah,
you
no.
win your bonus roll or not?
Stop.
We were totally there with you, Charity, when we decided to get pregnant because my grandmother, so my father is an identical twin, and then there's a set of uncles 5 years and 1 day apart that are identical twins.
Oh wow.
So there's two sets of identical twins on my side, and then on my wife's side, both her uncles are identical twins.
Well, I feel like everybody's
Ooh.
jinxing me because we're playing, like we keep doing things and everything keeps mentioning twins or oh well, not if you're only having one or not if you're having two or maybe you'll get both. And I'm just everybody. I mean, I posted a video of my nephew the other day. I made a place in my bed for the baby, and if there's another baby, this is the other place for the other bed. I'm like, stop it! Just stop it! And then we played Life the other day, and they're like, oh, look, you're having twins. Oh, great.
Yeah,
So
Life.
I'm
I
just,
never liked that
the
game.
odds are against me right now. Everybody's jinxing me.
I played Life the other day too with my family, and my daughter had so many kids that she had to have 2 cars.
That's awesome.
So did she actually take the adult one and put it in the other car so there was an adult driving?
No, she just she just started piling kids into the
A
second
caravan.
car. It's like attached by a tow rig, I assume.
I remember the old version. You could like stack a few more in the middle there, just squeeze them in between.
You could say like it's like the oldest was now old enough to drive the second car, maybe.
Or you can just
Jesus.
simply say you were playing in the 70s era and there were no seatbelts. So,
Sure.
That's true.
because I remember riding in the back of my dad's pickup from Montana to Seattle. In the back, he had a little camper shell, and he had sliding windows in between. So if we needed anything, we just slid the window, knocked on their window.
Yeah,
You gotta-
I remember sitting in the back of my parents' Pinto station wagon, and there was literally a hole in the floor beneath my feet where the floor had rusted out, and I would like grab a handful of small pebbles every time we went out for a long drive, and I would drop them out through the bottom and watch them disappear as they hit the
Oh
pavement.
my god.
Oh, we had one of those cars like that too. You can just imagine all the exhaust coming up in there. How did we survive?
By the skin of our teeth, I
Yeah, and
think.
now they're just worried about like the silliest things. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, we're fine.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's move along. Jobui, how did we do this weekend?
We did really well. Friday night, we blasted through all the bosses up through Varamathras. We skipped Coven, of course, as we have been doing, because forget Coven, right? I don't even want to go to
Favorite's
Coven.
favorite boss, and we
Yeah,
skip
but-
it every week.
Oh, the RNG in that fight. But we did. We still got through Varamathras, even though we had like a 15-20 minute extra long break. Because we had some players that were having issues or that had to go, and we had to swap some things around a little bit. But we still got through Varamathras. That's a really good sign. We had a lot of really fast kills, like 4 minutes on Guidotti, just under 5 minutes on the dogs. We had, a really, really fast pace. We got through all the way through High Command before the break. Then did Iminar, Kingroth, and Varamathras after the break. We had 10 minutes left on the timer too, but it really wasn't enough time for us to get to Agrimar, set up, and get started. So we come back to Agrimar on the next night, and we had a little bit of a rough go on Agrimar. It took us, it was our 8th pull that we got Agrimar down. Eventually, so it was a little rough, but we got through it. We still beat it. Went on to Argus, and we did 4 pulls on Argus, and our last pull, we finally got through the ad phase, and we basically hit the Berserk timer on that one. I looked at the logs on that, and we had like 4 to 5 DPS down through a good portion of the fight at various times, which meant not quite enough damage going out to the boss over time, which meant we hit the Berserk timer. But a little bit of cleanup, people staying alive better, and I think we have a good chance next week.
Yep, I agree. So I think our predictions were close. We had some that predicted we'd get it down and we'd spend the majority of the day on it. But, we had a little, like you said, a little issue with Agrimar. And it was, I don't think it was really anything too big.
No.
It was just little things on Agrimar. First you put me as a CC'er, and when I went to CC, I could not find my CC button, and it just kept getting closer and closer and closer. So finally I got it, and then somebody tagged it.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have another CC. Then somebody else CC'd it, and then somebody tagged it. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, you know, a large part wasn't necessarily that even. We did swap you out for a different CC'er. You went back to backup, which is where you've been doing lately. Because Ant showed up, and he's one of our normal CC'ers for that fight. We ended up switching him out for it. But there was a number of tanking issues in that fight. There was some weird stuff going on with Deadly Boss mods, some timing issues there, and it wasn't like the same issue every time. It was just there was a few tanking issues that occurred here and there.
Some mistiming, it was a one little bit after another. So Deadly Boss Mods was telling me to taunt at the wrong time. And so I figured that out the first time, knew it was wrong, ignored it, and subsequently was able to do it, in essence, manually and just ignoring it for the rest of the fight, except for once, when I taunted it the wrong way, and then everyone wiped. So that wasn't so good. And then a couple times, Darg also did a mistaunt. Once I was, one of the add-ons has to be away from one of the incoming ads, and I know that, but somehow I was just a couple feet too close. That came in, wiped us. It was, again, just one little picky thing after another. It just seemed like we just didn't have those all those things going on. So one thing, then another thing, then another thing, and sometimes it was ad control. So that wasn't ours. But I'd say a good half the time it was just some small fiddly tanking thing.
Well, I know there was some call-outs, and I don't remember if it persisted, but there was some laggy issues that were causing problems because of the lag.
Yeah, there was a little bit of lag stuff. I was having a little bit of an off night on that fight myself. I accidentally blinked in front of the boss and got killed like almost instantly.
Munched for your troubles, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one, I didn't quite move far enough forward, and during the knockback of a rend, it threw me right off the edge of the platform. I think Stafford saw that one.
Yeah, because you went right over my head, and I'm like,
Oh,
who was that? Oh, that was JobUi flying by.
Yeah, I tried to.
Good stuff being at the boss.
I tried to blink to like counteract it, but I was a little slow in my reaction because I was more like stunned. Like, wait, I'm gonna fly off the platform. Ah, crap.
Yeah, well, and that was one of the things that the tanks were having issues with. I don't know why, but the boss kept stepping forward after the first hammer blow, and that put us even closer to the platform edge. And then the circle, when the circle of fire comes out, it encompasses the whole edge, so you got to run out at an angle.
Well, you know what's doing that though. Well, what happens is he hits the first tank, then the other tank taunts, and then that's when the knockback happens. But the problem is, after that knockback back, I hit my mount and just pull him back into position. I stayed my speed boost for that, but Darg has to use his for something else. And so he's not able to move it as quickly, and he's also trying to run around rather than through the boss, because we've had a couple times where we've accidentally got the debuff on both of us. And so whenever he's receiving it, we end up getting pushed back some more, despite his best efforts. So that it's kind of luck of the draw as to whether we get further knocked back or not.
Yeah, ironically, I did mention too that I was like, is there some reason why the boss keeps marching towards the group? And then after that, the boss didn't really march towards the group much anymore.
Well, actually, and that was the luck. The next few times, I was the one who was just charging back, pulling it away. But I also was deliberately kind of repositioning him further and further back, because there's a circle we usually stand in, and I was putting about 5-10 feet back, because it doesn't matter from us, from a tank's perspective, to pull him back a little bit and give us a little extra leeway than where he originally comes back when he kind of resets at a certain stage. So, but by just nudging him back, we avoided that problem as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I almost
We
leaped
also
off
had
the platform one time because it was just like a toe. And I don't know how I was able to turn around, because I was like, oh no, I'm not going to hit the edge.
Although we did have a really cool pull, and it was I remember what happened on why we pulled it. It was like the first pull, and so Darag went to reset it, and the ball.
Oh, didn't we say to stop? I think it was a hold on, don't pull.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
We set the timer off to pull, and then somebody's like, "Oh no, don't pull, don't pull,"
Oh yeah.
and one of the people didn't have their headset on
Yep.
and pulled
Pew
anyway.
pew.
Yeah, but Agrimar goes running across the bridge, and then the bridge disappears.
Yeah.
I
That
actually
was
watched
would
him do
happen.
that.
That
Yeah,
was so funny to watch.
He did kind of like a frog jump right as the bridge
Yeah.
disappeared. You know, he like put his arms in the air and like his legs like came, both his knees like came up, and then he fell. And I was like, oh, that was pretty interesting.
I didn't
was
do
just
that because
going-
I was down there with them. I was like trying to pull them off the bridge and didn't get there in time.
I was just thinking to myself, how crazy would it be for a WoW programmer to go, okay, this is the one secret way to kill the boss in 3 seconds. But nobody knows unless they try it, and that would
but
be
then-
so cool if it happened.
But then no loot, right? Because you have to
Right.
drive
Yeah.
down and die to get it.
Now, what I think would have been really awesome is if Blizzard had put in something where if you pull him to the bridge, and the bridge disappears and he falls, he like spins around and gets one hand on the edge of the platform, pulls himself up and kills everybody.
Yeah, there
I
you
think-
go.
I think that would have been awesome,
Kind of like the whole in Lord of the Rings where the Balrog falls and then all of a sudden here comes the whip.
Yeah, something to that effect. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like he climbs back up, like everybody's like, oh, he fell. Oh, he didn't. Oh, no. And then we're all dead. And I would have been like, oh, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an awesome way to die in WoW.
But they don't do it that way. I should work for Blizzard. That's all I'm saying. I should
Oh
just
my
work-
goodness.
But I gotta say, I mean, we did pretty good this week.
We had to adjust for the heals too. We had
Mhm.
our Mythic Raider healer the past two that we downed it, and our healers had to adjust and figure out, how much less or where we needed to stand because that's where he was standing before. But he didn't come this week, Faye's son, so we had to adjust and figure out what we needed to do. And it was a struggle at first, but we did a good job. We came together.
Did
our
it
healing team
help?
is good.
Did it help that, I mean, I called in, like to the CCers and was like, hey, get your CC on and then get back towards the group. Did that help a little bit?
Yes, because we have to chase everyone, and it's hard enough to stay off of each other, let alone everyone stay off of us when we're trying
Right.
to go and heal someone. And yeah, so I had more trouble with DPS standing on me this time than each other. Usually we're stepping on each other so we can all reach everybody. And not this time. It was more everybody else running over us to like do the CCing. So we just kind of like have to shuffle our way away from them as they're running across to do their CCing. And we did all right. I had to change my positioning to like the back middle instead of the middle. I only went to the middle for certain parts of the fight, and so that I could reach the people that I usually can't reach. Other than that, I don't know how else everybody else adjusted, but at first it was horrible. I was just like, oh, we're feeling it. But
Yeah.
towards as we got farther in, it got a little bit better and we figured it out. So
Yeah, and I did notice that, I mean, we lost a lot of players just after the 5-minute mark. In the fight where we won, where we finished the boss off. We lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, all within 30 seconds of each other, right near the end. And it was mostly like the unchecked flame, the wake of flame. There was one person who died of the blazing eruption. Probably he was just too far away to get heals. But we had a couple people die of wake of flame. Now, wake of flame is the little stick up in the air, little flames that go across the platform and hit people. Ideally, they don't hit people.
yeah, they're not supposed to. They're
yeah,
supposed to move.
They're supposed to step out of the way. And there are more of them in the heroic version because they start swirling out all over the place, which is probably what was happening there. That was when they started shooting out all over the place because we lost 2 people to wake of flame during that part of the fight. Actually, including 457 in the fight was Faffer got hit by wake of flame. Then
Yep.
Lorelei got hit by wake of flame, and Dizzy got hit by wake of flame. It's very chaotic. They can come from all different directions, but I think if we get a little tighter about things like that, I think that fight will go a lot easier.
Yeah, well, with that particular one, what had happened is I was going over because one of the CCers had gone down, so I was heading over to that area where it would pop. So I was over there, and I was out of heal range, and then, man, one of those things just spun right in front of me, and I mean, it was like literally right in front of me, and I had no chance to move at all. But yeah, I remember that one because when
Yes,
you were talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I was down on one of those.
yeah, especially if your back is to it, like you don't see it coming and your camera view is mostly looking forward. I've had those when I'm trying to like move to get in position to release another ad, and then one of those wake of flames comes up from behind me, kind of thing, and that can catch you off guard real easy.
Especially if you're already low on health from some other thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. And if you don't get heals, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Thank,
Well, I do
thank
know-
goodness for cauterize.
I do know that not once did Tappuccino come near me and try to blow me up. She did it like 3 times.
Okay, can I say something I noticed?
Go ahead.
One fight, she came near me, and I was just about to say, "You're in front of the," and then realized it was no longer necessary for me to tell her that. Because suddenly there was a tap puddle
Yeah, I
on the
think
floor.
she traded out because it did. I don't know if you heard it, but at one point in the fight, I go tap because she was
Yes.
on top of me exploding, and I was not. I'm at this point. I have no filter. I keep my button not held down a lot of the time because I'm so just. I'll say whatever, and I was just tap. Get the hell off.
Maybe
Well-
that was the time. Maybe she ran away from you in front of the boss and
Probably
died.
because I went tap, and then I go nope. I pulled my finger off the button so I wouldn't say anything.
And I gotta say, like when she stepped in front of that boss, she started into a bit of a death monologue.
Yes.
And I was like, not right now. We're trying to focus.
Poor
'Cause she
chap.
was-
Die quietly.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, I stepped in front of the boss and the thing," and I was like, not now. Tell us about it later."
She means well, though.
She does.
Because every time she stands near me, I know it's her because she's this big-ass tree. It's like, why are you near me? Again.
I mean,
But
but
it
when
was pretty
she
good.
died, it's so much harder when she dies. I need her alive.
For sure.
Yeah, well, when any of the healers go down, it's always important to get them back up. But, hey, I actually got a res.
You did?
I don't remember which fight it was, but I was like the only one down.
Yeah, and you said, "Go ahead and res me."
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I don't hear that often.
No, I will say that on the one of the key points as well in the that we still need to work on. It's a continuing problem in the Argus fight itself. Is death fog. In our last pull, death fog accounted for let's see, 5 of the kills that we lost near the beginning of the fight, all within the first minute and 37 seconds.
Yeah, it's not surprising me. That's way too much,
Well,
right?
and
Yeah.
I honestly believe, and maybe they're just not understanding. I really believe, and I didn't get to see it much this one because I was really trying to concentrate on staying out of it. But when they got to go drop their circle off, I think they go back too far. And of course, it's a cone, so it gets wider as they go back.
Yeah.
And I don't think they understand that it hits really hard. It's like 2 million a second or more.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And also, I was watching the replay on Warcraft logs, which is a really great way to analyze your fights, raid leaders and stuff out there, or even players, to see where you went wrong. If you have a log, the advanced log, you can watch a replay on there. And I was looking at it shows a big circle for the detonations, from the bursts, from the little bombs and big bombs. And really, honestly, where we placed Moon this week, which was right behind the boss, even if we put the markers out there and they have plenty of room, which we could actually tuck the secondary markers a little bit further back, which would create a little more leeway. Really, right behind the boss is the only safe place to be. If you're in the middle, you're probably going to get hit by one of those when they're going off. Even if you're right dead center in the middle, you're probably still going to get hit. So we really have to emphasize, I think, next week that on that part of the fight, players need to stack up tight, fairly tight on Moon, and then dodge the little swirly things that go across the floor there. Because if they're
You're
not,
talking about the other phase.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's phase
well,
3.
I was confused. What
well,
are you talking about?
yeah, any of the phases, honestly, because there's 2 phases where we're attacking the boss like that, and we have the bombs. Anytime the bombs are up, there's the 2 phases where we have the bombs. Really, we just need to be stacking up right behind the boss as a group, and then dodging the swirlies and stuff that come by, and any of the beam things with the little pinwheels that come spinning through. Just dodging that stuff and generally staying as ranged right
Yeah.
behind the boss. For the
We
most
did
part.
a lot better. Me and
We did?
Alt were the only ones that were walking out because we had to heal the bomb people. That's why we were out in the middle, but we were healing ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's why just so that anybody listening to that was like, well, they're not in the right spot, because we decided that if we stand with the rest of the group, we can't heal the people that get blown up. So we go out there, heal them up for the bomb, and then we go back, keep heals on the big group. So and when every time you'll hear in the live stream, or if you were there, I would go, I have the bomb, heal the bomb people, and Altagan was taking over and healing the people that were getting the bombs, because we're just not close enough to heal them.
Absolutely. And and that's a great tactic, but I'm just thinking we really need to emphasize for next week when we get to that phase, just to, that people just, if they get up close to that boss, they're not going to take damage from those bombs when they start going off, which will save a lot of damage going out, because that they do hit hard. And so I think that'll help.
Yeah, definitely. And we're close. I mean, what we had 10%. I think is what I saw on the very last poll.
What it comes down to, though, in that particular fight, from my experience in killing Argus and Heroic, is that we need about 4 minutes or so in the 4th phase before the Berserk timer. If we get more than 4 minutes, that's okay, but 4 minutes is kind of the cutoff. If you have less than 4 minutes, it's a tight thing. If you have more than 4 minutes, that's great, which means that you need people to stay alive through phase 1, and then in phase 2, do a lot of damage on the boss to try and get him going quicker, like get him pushed to the ad phase faster. And then having more people up during the ad phase makes that go faster too. So it's really about keeping people up at the beginning of the fight. And if you lose a lot of people at the beginning of the fight, it's almost a guaranteed wipe, because there just won't be the DPS that you need to get under that Berserk timer.
Yeah, definitely Argus is a tough fight, which is good because the last fight should be. But let's do some predictions. I actually honestly think we will get it down next weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a very, very good chance. I'd say, like, if I was to give it a percentage, I'd say there's like a 85% chance we'll get it down next week.
I agree.
I agree if we have the right people. We have certain key
always
people
the optimist
that we need. I agree that, because last week I did not think we were going to get down, and you saw we had to practice it a little bit this week. But I think that we can do it as long as we have the key people for the roles that we usually have. Like, if we don't have a lot of healers gone, if we have enough DPS that are usually our big hitters, things like that.
If there's no weird tech glitches, if the tanks can get it together,
I just think I think most of our success on that particular fight stems on whether or not we lose a lot of people to the death fog at the beginning. I think if we lose one person to the death fog and we get through that phase with it, I think we have a really, really good chance. If we lose 4 or 5, I think we're toast.
Well, I think that was our first time with it on normal. That's what we kept running into, right? So I think this is really a repetition of the same thing.
Sure.
Well, so what I learned, and just from my perspective, is I stopped trying to get the bonuses, the bonus balls that come down, because I swear, sometimes the lightning one, which is a critical strike, is in the back, and then sometimes it's up front. and I just stopped getting them. I just stopped. I keep DPS and I watch really carefully from a top-down view, because there's that inner circle that if you stay on that, it's just a couple of steps over when the fog hits to get
Right.
out of the cone. Where in normal, I was always back a little further, and I'd run out and get something and come back to where I was back further, and I'd run a little further on the cone. No big deal, but I always made it. But when I try that on heroic, it just does not work. I was dying
No,
right
you know
on the
why?
edge.
You know why that's happening? Although the random and in different positions,
Hmm.
is because it's coming on the tank invariably,
Right.
and then in order to we're taking one extra hit from the boss, and we're using some mitigation so we can get through it all right, just to make sure we're dropping them. But the problem is, I have to almost immediately then taunt the boss. So I have to move quickly, then taunt the boss so that he doesn't take a fourth. But to achieve that, then I can't be standing back, right, to drop it. I have to be as close to the boss as I can be to be dropping it. And which one I get is random, so I'll never know which one it is. So there's no real way to kind of optimize
Yeah.
that for DPS, which creates other problems as you're describing there. So unless you can kind of guess that one's going to be dropped really close, and your 50-50 chance is right, and yeah, it's more of a crapshoot.
Well, and I mean, if it was close and I could just take a step to get it, I'd get it. But for the most part, if it was out to further or not within reach where I felt comfortable going out and coming back within time, I just didn't do it. I just kept attacking the boss.
Here's what I recommend with that. Okay, we're always going to get one that's going to be close to the raid group, right? That the one that's the optimal one might be out of your range, but it only lasts for 30 seconds anyway. Okay, so if it's out of your range, or if it's over behind the boss or on the front side of the boss, and you don't want to walk over there, grab the other one. Yes, you're going to lose your stacks, but who cares? At least you're getting a buff of some kind. So my recommendation is to step out and get the one that's next to the group if you can't go for the optimal one, which is over in front of the boss, because here's the thing. We have to get through that phase a little faster so we lose less people to the death fog. So regardless of which buff you can get a buff, because that will increase your damage at least some, and then that helps us get through that phase quicker.
Sure. Yeah, we might want to put that out then, because I noticed there's a lot of hesitation on people going to a specific one, a lot of time wasted, and as you're trying to do that, you're obviously not putting out DPS either, so.
Right. And ideally you get, 4 or 5 stacks of the optimal one. But if that's not possible, getting a stack of the other one's still better than no stack at all.
Good idea. So, yeah. I didn't see anything really outrageous on why we couldn't get it down. I mean, I don't know what happened to me, but on the last pull where we got it down to 10%, I died during the ads fight, and I could have swore I was probably 3/4 health, and it just went to nothing.
What,
So,
on our last fight?
on the
pull?
last pull, yeah.
No. You died to the death fog in the last pull at 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Well, then it was the pull before, because I know there was one.
It was.
I went all the way through all the ads and died during the ads.
Yep. That would be the second to last pull.
Okay.
You died to a cosmic ray at 6:17 during the big ad phase.
Yeah.
So it was the second to last pull. Yeah. And it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It really does. I will say that our interrupts over the course of the fights were getting a little bit better. I think people are starting to take that a little more seriously.
I could tell on the last pull. Absolutely. As a healer, I could absolutely tell that people were interrupting on that last one where we got through, because it was amazing how much easier it was to keep everyone alive.
I could tell by my health as a tank that it was a much easier pull with those interrupts.
There was a ton of interrupts in that last one. So I mean, it was pretty great. I love seeing that. We only missed 20% of the interrupts in that particular fight. There was a lot of players that were really getting those interrupts down on that. So that's great to see. If we're getting 80% of those interrupts taken care of, then we can heal through that. I mean, ideally we get 100%, but I mean that's kind of shooting for the moon. But the 80% is great.
So, Lorelai, did you put
Yeah.
in your opinion on what you think's going to happen? Your
No, I
prediction?
didn't get a chance to yet, but I think we will because we came really close to do it Saturday, and I know that I was just trying to look up something. That's why I wasn't talking. I was missing. I don't know if it was the cast bar for the interrupts or if I was looking at. I know at one point I was looking at the CD for the interrupts, and I think I was using my interrupt in the wrong place. So I wasn't getting as many of them because I know I kept using it, but it didn't seem like it was working. So apparently I'm looking at the wrong thing. So I've got to work on that.
Well, which one were you on, Laura?
I started on the physical one,
Okay.
and where did I move after that?
Because you mentioned that you said it
Oh.
didn't seem like it was working.
Yeah.
And that's a mechanic on that, is that if it gets interrupted, like let's say you're on the physical and we've got all those hunters and one of the hunters interrupts it before you do, then at the beginning of the next cast, if you tried to interrupt it right at the very beginning and you try to interrupt, it just wouldn't interrupt
Yeah.
because they're immune to interrupts for 20 seconds.
Yeah, so I have to time mine better.
Interesting. Yeah. So I didn't notice it until the last fight that I was dead that I saw which ones it actually were on. Now, is it always on the same ones, or is it random on which mini boss that they go to?
The cosmic beacons?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it decides which of the mini bosses or one of the ads is going to cast a cosmic beacon. I know it's not all of them at once, but I do know that DBM shows a timer when cosmic beacon is going out. So you can see when they're going to start casting it. It's just a matter of whether or not your ad that you're currently targeting is going to cast it or not.
Right. Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. When I was laying on the floor for the last pull, there's a huge, big electric circle above their head, and they're the ones casting it. Because
Oh, okay.
every time I targeted a boss, one of the mini bosses, I never see the cast bar come up to interrupt it
Right, me
or
either.
have the timer. But that's why I was curious if it's just certain ones or if it's just random throughout all of them.
I think it's kind of random between which ones are still up. I
Oh.
will say that although I think it was Dizzy that said that the WeakAura wasn't working for him that I made, it
Yes.
certainly was working for me.
Yeah, I heard it on yours.
Yeah, like I was sitting there and it's like, it's doing like a bike horn, every time I'm supposed to interrupt. And I made it like flash interrupt, like right in the middle of the screen. So you can see it like really clearly, like hit your interrupt. And so every time they start the one you're targeting, cast Cosmic Beacon. And it was working for me. So and he got the same one because I haven't made but the one version of it. So I don't know why his wasn't working.
So maybe I'll just pull my view back even farther because I'm not usually seeing their heads. So I'm not seeing if there's any kind of mark above their head.
All right, because you're
Right.
like standing
Because
right
I'm right
on
there
top
in
of them.
front of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
So
like I
sometimes
said,
it's hard when they're really tall.
like I said, laying on the floor, I was dead further back, and I could see now. And the 3 times it went off, I could see it was the same 2, but then one of the times there was only one over in that direction. I just kept my camera on the same direction, but fan interaction time. Maybe our fans can tell us for sure whether they know if it's random or it is just on specific bosses. Because if it's on specific bosses, that would be a good one to prioritize.
It's not, I can say this much. I know it's not on particular ones. Like it's not just always going to be on the fire one or the frost one or the nature one. It's going to be on it. I really think it's random based on the ones that are still alive. And it's some percentage of those.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I have my pummel set so that it will flash if I have to interrupt, and it usually is not flashing. So I'm using it anyway just in case something is not working right. But my pummel's always, it's always set to let me know what to do.
I suspect that because a lot of the times, and I ran into this where I tried to interrupt one like twice, and it got interrupted right before I hit my interrupt, which really sucks because then my interrupt goes on a 24-second cooldown, and it just gets wasted on an immune ad because it had been interrupted 20 seconds prior. So Wish I knew what the debuff was for that goes on, or whatever buff or debuff that goes on the ad, because I could always write a WeCore that says, whether or not that is active currently on the ads, and then whether or not they are currently casting Cosmic Beacon and that is gone, so they could be interrupted. Maybe I could just make it, there's a tag for interruptible, so I might be able to tweak that a little bit to make that more efficient.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, if you do get it figured out, then you can post it on the Facebook page. So, all right, guys. Anybody got anything else to add? I was just going to ask, now that I just said that, I don't need your input. What do you guys think about, and can we, on Friday, skipping a few bosses? Because I noticed everybody's throwing everything up on at least the first two to three bosses up for roll, and nobody's needing anything. Nobody's needing care. What do you guys think about that? Can we?
Well, I guess
can we?
my first question would be logistically, what can we skip?
We can skip all the way to Iminar.
Like as in, well, we can't get the first, like if we skip dogs
Guidotti.
or...
No, we kill Guidotti, and then we can
Yeah.
skip all the way to Iminar.
Oh, after Guidotti, that's the skipping options. Okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't see, anybody in Fellhounds, and not that it's taken a lot of time because we're one-shotting these bosses, but if we don't need to go to them, I would rather spend, and this is my personal opinion, a little more time on Agrimar and Argus.
Oh, absolutely. I think if
Yeah.
we did that, we could kill Guidotti, jump right to Iminar, and kill Iminar, Varamathras, or well, Iminar, Kingaroth, Varamathras, and then get some Argus pulls right on a Friday
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still
when we
think
have
we
more.
need Varamathras. I don't think we should be skipping that because I feel like that a lot of people are still getting stuff from it.
No, I
Yeah, there's
absolutely,
some things I could benefit from there too.
sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely still do Varamathras. Varamathras is a 4.5 minute fight,
Yeah.
as long as we don't screw it up. So, I mean, it's a fast fight. It's not going to eat a lot of time to do that one anyway.
Well, my thinking on this is that we really should hear from Stafford because he's usually the one who wants to sort of, slow it down and not rush. So,
I am.
yeah, it's usually you're the one who's more like, well, let's make sure we got what people need. So,
Well, yeah, but
I think you're right.
I've been watching it. And especially I paid very close attention this last raid, and I mean, everything's going up. There was, if there's 8 items that dropped, 7 of them went up for trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
the
not
idea is
Titan
it's Titan Forged.
And right,
Yeah.
and nobody rolled on them. So
Yeah, even the Warforged stuff is not getting rolled on
Yeah.
half the time.
so
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
mind
that,
skipping.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just believe that, well, that's fine, if nobody's needing it. And because I don't want it to get to that point where people are going, okay, well, we're doing these first 4 bosses and I don't need anything, so I'm going to switch to a different tune for the first 4 bosses. I don't want to get to that point because then we lose a lot of time switching back when we get on the higher bosses. So, but then there's also I don't want to beat my head against the wall on Argus for 2.5 hours.
Well, but I don't think we're beating our heads. Like we had some difficulties, but we got better and better, and we figured out some other mechanics and got better at it. So I think we'll, benefit. But then the dilemma comes: what happens if we actually, in a fortunate circumstance, finish it on Friday night?
Well, then you can go and you can either kill the early bosses or you can
Yeah,
wipe up the whole rest of the raid on dying against Coven.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
we
that,
still
yeah.
haven't killed Coven yet.
Yeah, my girls, man, my girls.
OMG.
I haven't killed Coven yet, and
It's like we're all agreeing not to talk about it.
but Coven is that fight. There are a lot of people out there who have never killed Coven who have completed the
was
rest
the,
of Heroic many times.
What was the name of the boss on the last
Maiden.
raid? Maiden.
Yeah, that's our maiden fight.
But
And before that, it was the big Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Thoth.
God, yes.
I
Yeah.
love Thoth.
And honestly, the fight against Argus, as far as the beating your head against the wall thing on Argus, that's a long fight. So I mean, even it's one of those things where we got there just after break because we killed Agrimar, just after we finished the break, right? And then we came back, or then we went on to Argus. We only got 4 pulls, right, in the remaining time. So it's not like you end up with a lot of pulls on that fight. It's just you have to make it through the one and beat the timer.
We
Right.
did get a slow start after break, but your point, I think, is still well taken, that there aren't a lot of attempts on it. It takes a lot of time.
All right. Well, it's that time. I hear the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Hello again. Nothing new about pet battles or pets from the beta, but once pet battles get started, I'll let you know what's new and exciting. Last week, I reminded those new to pet battles that a good place to start collecting pets was at the vendors in their racial starting zones. Another good place to get pets is through your professions. If you need a reason to level them up, then pet battling is a good excuse. Most all professions now have companions as well as mounts, so hit up your friends and loved ones and you'll get some unique pets to play with. Don't forget that you need to cozy up to a tailor for an Ellic plushie so that you can get an awfully big adventure achievement. I'm almost done with mine. I just need some more time to run through the last of the Celestial Tournament tamers. Another way to get pets is to run through old raids. Blizzard has been adding new pets to bring people back into them, and hopefully you'll be luckier than I am at getting bosses to drop pets and mounts. Last but not least, classes have access to pets as well. Death Knights, monks, shamans, druids, rogues, and demon hunters all have pets for sale in their class halls. Feeling a little left out, Blizzard? No mailbox, no pet. What's up with that for warriors? So keep collecting and keep battling. And I'll meet you when it's time to battle for Azeroth. See you next week.
And then there's
Getting Deeps with JoeBui.
Today I'd like to talk, once again, about a topic that I've covered quite a few times. Fun. Fun is the core reason why all of us play. The cool part about World of Warcraft is that your fun doesn't have to be made of the same stuff as everyone else's. There are many paths you can take to have fun in WoW. You might like to see your name at the top of the DPS charts. You might like to heal up other players. Perhaps taking the heavy hits and protecting your fellow raiders is your thing. For some people, it's working the auction house or doing pet battles. Maybe it's questing or doing dungeons or shaving some time off your latest Mythic Plus. PvP might be your thing. There are mysteries to solve, mounts to acquire, raids to master, transmogs to collect, and zones to explore. Even in raiding, there are many choices. There's LFR for the more casual players or those who are pressed for time but who still want a raiding experience. Normal and heroic for those looking for more challenge. And mythic raiding for those dedicated few who really want it tough as nails. Put simply, there are many ways to find your fun in World of Warcraft. There is no right or wrong way to play. The key is for you to have fun, with friends or on your own, however you want. It's your World of Warcraft, and I hope, sincerely, that you enjoy it. And until next time, keep getting those deeps.
very nice. And our tank and address.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
This week's Come At Me a Tanking Minute. You are here. I recently went to visit a new mall in our city, trying to find some appropriate present for a Mother's Day gift. I didn't know my way around, so of course I did what most of us would do. I saw a little booth that had a map and walked over and found the little "You Are Here" mark. So what did I do then? Well, a couple seconds, I figured out where I was and was able to get on my way to find what I was looking for. So in a raid, what is your "You Are Here" sign? For a while in this expansion, I thought it was kind of fun to have a gold outfit, a glowy gold outfit, so that I would stand out from the rest of the crowd. Everyone would always know where their tank was and make their lives just that much easier. It's really important, of course, in a raid that the healers, DPS, and for that matter, your co-tanks need to know where you are, especially when where you are can sometimes be a death zone. See earlier note on tap tonight. Awesome transmogs are one thing, But have you used target marker icons? If you haven't used them, they're really quite simple. You click on a mob, or for that matter yourself, right-click on the marker that comes up, and look, you have an option for icons. In our raid, I'm always marked with a blue square, and that's just to help out our raid members, to know that there's my "You Are Here" sign. Kind of helps, because if you know where the tank is, if you know where the boss is, you kind of know where you shouldn't be. And that's Come At Me, a Tanking Minute.
All right, and next up we have...
Baby, you got the heals. Now heal and don't die, 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 die. Heal and don't die, 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 die.
Hello, everyone. I've noticed that we always do well at the beginning of fights in our raids, but go at the end. This is usually because we're using so many unnecessary spells in the beginning, either because we aren't managing our throughput and our regen well, we're healing unnecessary damage people should not be taking, or we're not wearing the correct gear or using the right tools. As healers, we can help all of these things. Well, except control others' movements. Believe me, I've tried. We should first of all be sure that we're using the correct gear and keep our stats in place where we have enough mana to manage the fights we are doing. I use, personally, AMR or Ask Mr. Robot. There are plenty of other guides online as well. It is just my go-to. But unless you happen to be the master of numbers, you should be using something to help you. Don't just wing it. If you are having mana management problems, it might be a good idea to look at your use trinkets, see if there is a better one suited to keep mana. Also, look at using a new potion for mid-fight. My little trick is to use a late torrent potion. You may see me using them in the live stream from time to time, or hear me call out, "I'm drinking!" when there is a lull in the fight, like the transition on Argus where you don't need to heal, or if it's you just need to stop for a second and refill. I use this. You can't move while it fills you up, but it fills you up about halfway in mana. Remember, it does count as a potion though. Always communicate with your team if you're supposed to be doing something. And just, oh my god, I guess I wrote that line wrong because apparently I can't even read it. Always communicate with your team if you're supposed to be doing something and can't because you're using it. Tune in next week for more tips on keeping your mana straight to the end.
And next up we have... It's WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. The Command Center is up next at the Broken Shores with Heavily Augmented and Forces of the Order. I think that's a Star Wars thing. I'm not sure. The weekly event is Broken Isles World Quest. You only need 20.
Hey, that's a good one for alts, man.
Yes.
That's
It
true.
gives you all sorts of stuff too. Yeah. I like it for the resources, personally.
Yeah, that's what I use it for. I run my alts through as many of my alts as I can through that one. That's how I keep them making that gold.
Yep. WoW tokens are at 202, so they went up about $4,000 this week. So, but they're slowly creeping. And then I guess some pretty good news is the second round of BlizzCon tickets are on sale right now. So I didn't know there was a first round. I thought once they went on sale, they were on sale. So they must stop them and then count them out or something. I don't know.
That's because when you blink, when they go on sale and you blink, you lost out.
Oh, really?
They sell that
they,
fast.
They hold some back and then do a second round?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, the second round was on Saturday. So by the
they're
time
gone.
this airs, they're gone.
Oh yeah.
They were
I
gone
know people
Saturday
that sit
night.
in queue from the very beginning and sit and don't get any.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, I'd love to go to a BlizzCon, Charity, you went, right? How many
I
people
did. So my friend sets up 4 computers and has them all going at the same time just to get us tickets if we want them. I can't go obviously this year, but that's how he gets them.
Nice. Who else has gone?
I have not.
Not I.
I don't travel that much.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. I'd
I
love
sit
to
home
go.
with my virtual ticket.
I was going to say,
Oh.
yes, who
Yeah.
does
I thought you were going to say you
Love
sit
my
home with your
virtual
virtue.
ticket.
Oh yeah, but if you do get to go, you should go at least once. It was amazing and it was worth it. It was
Well,
one of the best trips I've ever made.
You met the guys from the Goblin Goldcast down there this
Oh
last year,
yeah, those drunken idiots.
Wow.
They were great.
Yeah,
They were so much fun. Yes.
I know they like their whiskey. Nice. All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming. Everybody, thanks for listening. We actually came close to topping the charts this week. So if you guys know people that want to hear and listen to us rant and rave about WoW, let them know where our podcast is at. You know, we're on, iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, and Potable.co. I guess CO is, I don't know what CO is. What's .co? Is that overseas?
Oh, no idea. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's not .com, it's .co. I don't know. That's a new one on me. Facebook.com/Lions Pride Tavern. We also have a Discord channel. Those links and everything is in our description below. Plus a YouTube channel. That link is down there too. So if you want to talk to us, get in Discord. I pretty much watch it all the time. I may not respond right away because a lot of times I'm at work and down in a crawl space and I don't have cell service down there. So
I just looked it up. It's .co is apparently Colombia.
Oh, really?
The country. Yeah.
Wow.
so
Okay, because they started hosting us.
Really?
Yeah. That was. I mean, that was a while back, but I always get an announcement when somebody's hosting us somewhere, and Potable.co. So they're hosting us. So
Yeah, I didn't
thanks,
know.
guys. Yeah.
I had to look it up. I was like, what is CO? I don't know what that is. And I was like, oh, it's Colombia. All right.
See, I always thought they had to be 3-letter, but and when I saw that, I was just like, all right, well, I'll take it for granted. Somebody's hosting us, so that's cool.
Well, no, because
So-
there's like .eu and .uk.
Well, yeah,
and
but I
stuff
knew
like
what
that.
that was. I mean, we have, we don't have do we have a .usa yet? I don't think we
No, well, there probably is something like that.
do. There could be. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only thing we're not on is Stitcher. I think that's the only
Yeah.
one I know of that
Okay.
we're not on.
Well, these guys, see, I get notice that somebody that downloads constantly from our site to put it on their site. Because it's got to come from Podomatic. Podomatic's got to give them
Oh,
permission.
okay.
So I get that notice that, hey, we've got somebody else that's also hosting us on their site, which just gives us another branch of an avenue of getting, downloads. But I did notice that when I was looking at the downloads, all the downloads that we get in a week don't necessarily mean that they're downloading us our last episode. So, when I check it at the end of the week, I always assumed it was from the last episode. And I got to looking, and there's this little link you can click, and I clicked it, and it's like, oh my God, somebody downloaded episode 44.
Mhm.
That was an important
I
one.
used to do
And
that
3 people did it. 3
because
people.
you want to go back and hear the old ones because you want to hear more. And
Sure.
I used to do that when I was first listening. I'm like, oh well, I ran out. I want to hear more, so I would go back to the old ones.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. No, I always with my podcast, I just stay with the current one, unless they specifically said in the current one, if you go listen to episode 22, that we talk more about it, then I'll go do that. But yeah, no, I couldn't believe how many were of older episodes. That was pretty cool. I was impressed. So thanks everybody for coming. I would like to thank Charm for all of her beautiful music. Please go visit her website and her YouTube channel. Her links are in the description below. She's the one that does all that beautiful music before our minutes. Plus BenSound at bensound.com and Vincent Moretto with our heavy metal tavern music. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
That's all, folks.
I kissed an orc and I liked it. The taste of his Bulgur chapstick. I kissed an orc just to try it. I hope my ally friends don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't mean I'm in love tonight.
Awesome trag. Good luck with that one. Awesome trag.
Yes!
Time.
Yes, we
Zoinks.
finally got a blooper from Epistle.
There it is.
Twang
Awesome
spogs.
Tragmans. Awesome. Okay. Awesome Trag.
That's awesome. And you could tell he was playing WoW in the background, too.
No, I wasn't. That's my son in the next computer over.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
It's a family business.
I told
They
him I
grow
gotta
up
watch
so
the
fast.
clicks. Yeah, well.
No, he just sounds really professional because you sound like you're gaming and doing your thing.
You're right. Typing your blooper as you go.
My blooper is here.
Yes, finally. After all these episodes.
Oh, I've had bloopers before.
Not like that one.
Okay,
a good one.
that was special.
It was. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming. We hit our time. Thanks to all the listeners, and please, no, that didn't come out right.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't have anywhere to go from there. So, let's try that again.